Alright, so this is gonna be... Oh, mic volume. Okay. So this VOD review is gonna come in parts, I think. I'm gonna go across a few maps, maybe here, and then I'll check on King's Row. So this is after Nepal... Get that beam out of here. So this is after Nepal Village, which is the map we won. I wanted to go back and look at the maps we lost on Nepal. So, rolling out on the double sniper, I think the first mistake that I make is I ask for Widow to go Widow to go to this side and Hanzo to go to this side. But I realize that now Widow should have been on... They should have switched places. Because, like, say if you take into account... this high ground... right, it's easily climbable by Hanzo. So you can... Like, Hanzo can make use of this, like, rotating high ground. And in terms of sight lines... so... If the enemy tries to approach through this side... Hanzo... You know, these are like medium range sight lines that in like interior can be close combat. That's better for Hanzo, while this open sight line's better for Widowmaker. So from now on, when we do double sniper, Widow should take this side and Hanzo should take this side, and that's my poor call. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so they start flanking left side. Except for their Lucio, who's doing something. Okay. Oh, we'll let the fight play out. Okay, and then they're gonna get the flip. Okay, first of all, I didn't know that this thing here changed colors based on who caps point. But anyways, more importantly, so this composition has two types of heroes, right? So you have the Orisa, the Hanzo, or the Widowmaker and the Hanzo, and the Mercy's kind of like a hybrid, so we'll talk about that later. So these three heroes favor long range. So you want to create distance between you and the enemy. Now this comes based on the hero. It varies, right? Because you know Orisa can take some close quarters combat. She might not do much, but she's not going to die. And Hanzo is better at brawling than Widowmaker is. Now, if you want to talk about short range, you have the Hammond and the Lucio. So these are short range. So Hammond can get pile drives, and overall disruption and area damage. And Lucio, if you really want to actually kill someone, you're going to have to be fairly close, either for an environmental or for landing consecutive shots. Despite his lack of fall off, it's quite difficult. And Mercy is kind of like this wild card who... Oops, why? Oh, there we go. Okay, Mercy's this wild card. So Mercy can pocket the snipers. I believe in general you find more value off of pocketing Hanzo, just because I feel like in general Hanzo does more damage than Widowmaker, but Widowmaker can get like final blows from a long range easier. So I think damage boost favors Hanzo. I feel like the only reason why you'd want to damage Widowmaker is like you could fire like shots quicker, like with less charge, or if you want to like one shot a tank or something. But anyways, so the Mercy can fly between the snipers and the dive core over here, based on what the team needs. Now, if we look at their comp versus our own, so how their comp works, it's kind of weird because so they have Winston, Diva, and Pharah, which are supposed to dive, and then they have a Widowmaker. Oh wait, here I'll do this correctly. So they have a Winston, a Diva, and a Pharah, and then they have long range on a Widow. Okay. Now, if we want to talk about what the goal of this Lucio is, so the Lucio can either peel for Ana, or the Lucio can be aggressive. Now, in this case, the Lucio is mainly aggressive, which I think is the right play, mainly because it's, like, Lucio is good for peeling against, like, Winston and Diva, but not so much against Hammond. So we can expect their Lucio here to be aggressive. So this is a 4-2 dive. With 4 people diving and a 2 double sniper backline. Okay. So, knowing all this, there's just scribbles all over the screen. As Lucio, you can play Lucio here, like this comp versus their comp, in 2 ways. So, Lucio. So, the first way is aggro, the Awk playstyle, DPS Lucio. Or the second way is, I'll call it checking. Okay, so what I mean by checking is, if they have an aggressive Lucio player, then in order to find... I need to get that light out of my face. Okay, so to find value on Lucio, instead of getting kills, by preventing their Lucio from getting kills, you know, you kind of equalize that. And in general, if Lucio is going onto your team and you're fighting him, I don't know, wall riding somewhere, the engagement is going to favor you more often than it will favor him, because you have more support being closer to your team than he does. So you can squeeze out slightly more value, assuming you are of equal mechanical skill. So at the end of this really leaves just Hammond on our team to dive. So this composition that we're playing shouldn't be thought of like a dive comp. It should be thought of as a double sniper. This comp revolves around double sniper, right? You have Hanzo Widow, and the goal of the Hammond is to pile drive to open opportunities for the snipers. The Arisa's there to protect the snipers, and the Mercy's there to damage boost the snipers, right? This is a very sniper-centric composition, while theirs is a more traditional dive. It's very odd that they're not running Mercy. I don't know why you'd... Like, Ana Lucio's a bit of a weird pick here. So, now if we look at... Oh, jeez, that's... Get out. Okay. So if we look at what happens... I'll erase this all. Okay, so we take the right side. And they make the choice not to contest us here, which is smart by them. Optimally, so as Hammond, you went like this way and then you went through. What I would do is, so like that's kind of like a blind engagement, right? So if we look at that from your perspective. Oops, farther back.
Hello.
Right, at this moment you don't know what they're running until like Widowmaker takes a shot. Now you know they're playing dive right here. So you run through them. You mess up, but that doesn't matter. Okay, so at the moment that you've engaged on the enemy is not yet committed to the engagement, right? We're still just kind of poking, taking initial positions. So what I would like to see, especially on this map, is that you can look to set up a hard engagement after they've already committed. So what I mean by that is, if they're coming this way, oops. So say if it's scouted they're coming this way, which it has been. Now because you're over here, it's better to set up for a engagement with your shield, pile drive, roll, whatever. So that, because like rolling through them does, it gets you damage, it gets you ult charge, but that's not our like win con, if that makes sense. Okay, so now we've rotated onto point, which I think was a mistake. That was a poor call. I think we should have stayed here. Shield comes out this way. Sorry. Shield is like this. So that, snipers can take up these angles. And actually, I think we could have explored more. Where's our Widowmaker? Yeah, I think we could have explored more onto their side of the map, right? Because if they want to take our side, then why don't we just rotate? Oops. Let me go out further. Okay. So, make it even better. Boom. So if they want to take our corner, right, we can no longer play Hanzo here. So we can play Hanzo here and play Widowmaker over here. So you get kind of this crossfire. Also, I've realized what I just said about Hammond doesn't make any sense, because you get your cooldowns back by the time they engage. So I retract my statements about Hammond. But the general concept remains there. So for some reason, their Diva's over here. I don't know why. So that's a pretty big throw. So, yeah, the issue with this rotation from us onto point, so we lose our Lucio early, because our Lucio is engaging with the Hammond. Which, in general, I don't think is a good idea. But the death of our Lucio is not completely the Lucio's fault. The reason why I don't say going aggressive is that good of an idea is only because, like, you're kind of on your own, right? Like, Hammond's not going to protect you. So, if you find, like, a solo Ana, then, go for it. But, 4 of them. And then now that our Lucio's dead, their Lucio's kind of like, oh, I can be free now. And then oops off our main tank. And as soon as we lose Orisa, like, our ability to remain on the point is, like, gone. Do you find that on him? Nice. But once the Ana dies, the support line should be looking to disengage. It's like, you have a goal, kill Ana. You accomplish the goal, Ana is now dead. So now you run. Because, like, I think we stayed a little longer than we needed to. And they could have punished that. Okay, what's going on?
Area denied.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Yeah.
Justice.
Oops. Okay, so let's start here. So, as soon as our Orisa's touches point, you can kind of see, like, how weak this composition can be to just an Orisa. So, like, they have to commit their Lucio and kind of their Diva for, you know, practically staying on point. Simply because they can't really kill this Orisa when she's turtled up in that corner. I don't know how Mines kills Lucio. What are you doing, Lucio? What are you doing? Please don't walk into them. Oh dear. Okay. But, in general, in terms of Mines usage, like, because their Ana or Widowmaker are either going to be positioned here or here, right? So if you cut off one of these places, you stuff them into the other place. So, which, like, you know, you basically get rid of half of their choices in terms of positioning. So, yeah, diving backline with Mines is, I think, the way to go here. But, you know, you kill Lucio, so how much can I really complain? Okay, so the next mistake we make, the next mistake Aiden and I make, so this kind of shows you the advantage of crossfires and the disadvantage that you have in not taking crossfires. So we put both snipers together. I think that was like a miscommunication thing. So that when the Pharah comes, like, she can be here and she's in the face of both snipers. So she takes out all the damage. And then once the DPS are gone, like, the win con is gone.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
And so if we talk about this beat here, and that Valkyrie actually. So if we judge, if we try to think about how an ultimate, like when an ultimate should be used, right? You know, we talk about like, oh, is it winnable? Is it not winnable? Like, can we win with this ultimate and stuff? I think a way to simplify that by a lot is you look at whether your win condition is intact, and if your ultimate can restore that win condition. So the win condition is, like, this is like a pick composition. So you need damage to get picks. So as soon as the DPS die, that is your win condition. Your win condition is gone, right? It's going to be very hard for you to kill anything with like an Orisa, a Hammond, and a Lucio as your DPS. So knowing that, really the only thing that can maybe restore the win condition is like a Mercy Res on Hanzo. But even then it's kind of sketchy because if we have to invest Valkyrie, right, we have to ignore the healing for the first small portion because she has to GA over to the Hanzo's body and then res the Hanzo. And during that entire period of time, you know, no one else is getting healing except from the Lucio. So I think as soon as that Pharah took out both DPS, the game, or this fight was over. So I think that's what we can look to do more. Make sure we know what our win condition is, and even better if you can figure out what the enemy's win condition is. You know, that helps a lot too.
Clearing the area.
Personne n'échappe à moi. Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Well, that's awkward.
Personne n'échappe à moi.
Well, that's why we communicate positions and respect Widowmaker.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Okay, so Dad moves on to point, which is exactly what he should be doing. Did I get soloed by Winston? Okay, here, DPS grow brain and switch positions. Widow on this side, Hanzo on this side. If that was calmed, that's fine. But if it was just felt, then don't know how that happened, but it works.
Personne n'échappe à moi. Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
Okay, flanking Winston. I don't know why he popped Primal. I think he could have killed me regardless of Primal or not. But Primal anyways. And like, something that I've always struggled with is I don't know how a composition like this or a dive comp is meant to deal with Primal. Like, that's something I never thought of, because like Primal's such a strong ultimate. Like Primal was a win condition against goats, Primal's a win condition against dive. You know, it's like if you're running Bong Dive, Winston just pops Primal and solos the Zen. It's like, what are you gonna do? Like, kill him? Probably not. Okay, Hanzo is dead, and Widow's going to die here. Yeah. So, again, okay, well, now half the win condition is back. Now we've stuffed into this small place. Dragon's fine. Really, they won off the back of that Primal Rage, because Primal kills Hanzo and Widowmaker. Like, yes, Diva kills Widowmaker, but Winston was there with Primal. I think Widow would be dead either way. So I think Primal might be pretty, like, if Winston plays this correctly, I think Primal can be like a guaranteed win. And I think the only way that the Winston doesn't win the round is if he's throwing and like we completely outplay him. But I don't see how that's possible with this composition. So I'll have to think about that a little more. I think against the high level Winston like this, I think against the high level Winston like this, it's viable to swap Hammond back to Roadhog.
Nerf this!
Because if they're winning off the back of that Winston, you know, again, neutralize their win condition and win the game. So this is the other map we lost, which is Shrine. Yeah, okay. And I don't remember how and why we lost this. All right, Ryan, Zarya, Doomfist, Ashe, Moira, Lucio into dive.
4, 3.
I don't know. I really like Ashe and Doomfist on this map. So, okay, here's how this comp is meant to play. So, this comp plays quite well once you capture the point. Because, so, most teams will come through here, right? Now, if you set up a Doomfist right here hiding, you know, that's a very easy kill zone as they're rotating. And Ashe can also utilize this high ground, or she can play from here. Like, once you have point control, it gets a lot easier. And the tanks, with a strong support line, are meant to force space from their tank line to capture the point so that the DPS can take their positions.
Round 3. Capture the objective.
Now, in terms of who has the better matchup, I think we definitely have the better matchup. So, Doomfist hard counters Genji. Like, I don't think this is a traditional thought of like who counters who, but like, if you're playing Genji to Doomfist, there's very little you can do to Doomfist. Even in Dragon Blade, unless you're like nano boosted, there's so little you can do to Doomfist, and Doomfist like can do so much to you. It's very difficult to play Genji in the Doomfist. And then Ashe into Pharah, I'm not like Ashe is not my best hero, but like I can still definitely put pressure on Pharmacy. I probably can't take them on alone, but I can reduce the amount of space they can play in. And you know, they're running dive without really any viable dive targets except for maybe Ashe, but even she has a coach gun, so. Wait, here there's a Winston behind. I was like, what the fuck is this? I should not have dropped down on the high ground.
The objective is now
What happened to Fade there? Ah, okay. So this is the examples of like Moira aggression, right? So wait, where's Moira? Where'd she go? Oh, okay. So you were like here, and you kind of like zigzagged, and you faded to here. But if you faded onto point, like you could have easily killed that Zen. Do you have orb up? You don't have orb up, but still, like Zen into a Moira with the Moira having support. It's like not difficult for Moira to secure that kill. Because, okay, the best way to negate a Pharmacy, especially once your Ashe is dead, is not to hide from the Pharmacy, it's to kill everyone unfortunate enough to be on the ground. Zen has no friends here. The only way for Zen to get support is if Mercy comes to, or Mercy gets off fire, or maybe if Diva peels. But, you know, peeling against Moira's, you could eat the orb, but like, that's all you can do. Okay, so I forgot who it was, but someone was like, let's go down here. That was a really bad decision, and I'll tell you why. So, the reason why that's such a terrible position, so that call was made in response to their tanks being called up here. Now, this is where they want us to go, because they don't have to invest any cooldowns to get to us. Rather, if we had, like, just gone straight through, or around, or just anything but under, or even if we went over, right? All of these, any path except for underneath, requires them to invest more resources. If they have to come like this, and they don't want to use cooldowns, then they have to invest their health pools by getting shot at as they're coming towards us. So. Doomfist goes for the Zen. Perfect example of Zen not getting proper support.
Helden sterben nicht.
Meteor strike.
Okay, what is going on? Okay, so tank line starts rotating to point. Okay, actually, so I think in these situations, once the Lucio speeds and we're like on point, like we don't, like in this moment, we're not looking to rush any place. I think it's viable for Lucio to peel for, who's this? Ashe, yeah. So like here, notice how Genji dies and then I die to like the poke of the baby diva plus the Genji. Because I think that like, because the Ashe can't play on point, or at least she can't get full value by playing on point in my opinion. Just because of like, you know, how her range works. So I think if we have our tank line here and our Moira's there and our Ashe is here and our Lucio's here, and then Doomfist is doing whatever the hell, I think that's optimal. Because a lot of the hit scan DPS characters are fairly vulnerable to close range attacks. Do we cap this? Okay.
Justice reigns from above.
What was that? Did you get stunned out of it? What was that? Oh, nice. Lucky. Unlucky that we didn't kill her, but she's lucky to have lived through that. And how and why does Dan die? Oh, he gets the brunt of the barrage, but he did swing a lot with his Zen focus. That's a general mistake I see across many main tanks, not just Dan, like mainly lower ranked main tanks. Not respecting Discord enough. Okay, so we beat, which is fine. Actually, I shouldn't say fine. The beat's quite good. Okay.
All systems.
Because I think, like, it's okay to not rely on, I shouldn't say it's okay. It's good not to solely rely on support ultimates to negate Dragon Blade or other, like, combos. Because at some point, I think, as a team, we need to step up and practice defeating Dragon Blade without using beat. So here we invest 5 ultimates. I forgot why coalescence gets used. Was that another support ult stacking?
I'm not dead yet.
Heads up, they're back for more.
Yes, they are, Lucio. Support ult stacking. Okay. So, well, actually, let's watch this coalescence. Oh, they used it. Never mind. Okay. I thought I would have actually seen something cool, but no. Transcendence. Okay, support ult stacking. Never good. Okay, now, I don't know what Genji's trying to accomplish here. Because think about it, right? He's getting 1 slash for free on the Ashe. Then the Ashe is going to use Coach Gun. And then what? Like that? That was a really questionable Dragon Blade. Okay, now I thought I was going to die because for some reason I Coach Gunned vertically. I like panicked and Coach Gunned vertically. And I thought I was going to die, so it's like, fuck it, just launch Bob. So the Bob was a mistake. So we wasted 2 ultimates there, being Bob and Coalescence. The beat stabilized the fight. The Grav secured the fight, and the Shatter eliminated their win condition. They had to invest Blade and Trance. So, like, really? So we wasted Coalescence and Bob, right? So in a perfect fight, we would have used 3 ultimates into their 2 ultimates. So essentially, it's a 1 ultimate team fight win, which is really great. Beat's a fairly high value ultimate, and Trance is also fairly high value ultimate. Grav is a very high value ultimate, but then they used Blade. So we're trading high value ultimates for high value ultimates, and then Shatter's kind of not that great. Like in terms of, it's easy to charge up, and you know, it's like it's okay to like solo ult the Genji when blading. So like using Shatter for a team fight win, that's like essentially like as good as hitting 4 people with a Shatter and killing all of them. So here we should be looking to play cover. I don't know why. Yeah. So oops. So we shouldn't be backing off like this, because like if we look at their Pharah and what she can see, like if she's playing this side, if you just play along this wall, and maybe if your backline wants, they can play there. But as Reinhardt, you know, playing along that wall is fine, so that you don't have to use that much shielding. And you can block a fair amount of the damage with natural cover. Oh no, that is so unfortunate. Wow. That is so unlucky. The moment he goes to charge, they bomb and kills Lucio and forces Zarya out of position. But either way, I don't... Let's see, why did you charge? Yeah, because okay, say the perfect situation happened and they're not bombing it and you land that charge, right? But then the team is kind of like in the middle of God all nowhere without a Reinhardt.
Activated. I'm back in the fight. Taking off.
So in that fight, we could have stabilized with Coalescence and Bob if we had them. So yes, even though like Reinhardt charged that when they bomb, oh what's this? So even though Reinhardt charged and they bombed and all that, like yes, that's a mistake and some unlucky mistiming. But regardless, like we could have stabilized with the ultimates that we wasted. Okay, so they pop Valkyrie. Okay, now we're going through main, which I think is the play here.
Meteor strike.
We rotate really slowly. I don't know why we're moving so slow. Did we waste amp somewhere? No, we have amp. Ugh! Amp gets used for healing. No bueno. Then again, we do get distracted by this Winston.
Meteor
But
strike.
yeah, the fact that we used amp was really bad. Like, what is your Genji doing? What are you doing, Genji? But anyways. Okay, so we're up, actually. Somehow, we're up. But they're primaling. I'm curious as to how we lose this. Nice beat. Really, we lose this?
Rains from above.
Don't we lose this map? Oh, it's another fight left. Okay. As Moira, you really need to be looking to play. You're in like okay positions, then they come to pressure you, and then you fade into like the worst positions. So you want to be looking to fade towards your tank line, not farther away, because that's what I keep seeing. You're kind of playing near the tank line. You get pressured from damage, and then you fade into the middle of God all nowhere, and then it's dead from there. Okay, so in terms of ultimates, they have Transcendence and Bomb, and we have Shatter, Coalescence, coming up on Meteor Strike, coming up on Grav, and Deadeye, and we lose this? There's no... Wait, we do lose this, right? I'm beginning to have second thoughts. Like, I'm fairly sure we lost this. Oh, no. What? What? Okay. Well, main healer's dead, but why is Dan playing on the right side? What is this? What's going on? You know, let's go for a comms check.
Yeet, fam.
Right side.
Yo, there's... Yeah, so they shouldn't have anything except maybe... Did they use Primal? They used Primal, right?
They use Primal,
Did
they use
they,
Blade.
they used Bomb-ish. They won't have Bomb. They don't have DPS, so they shouldn't have anything except maybe Valkyrie. Transcendence. And... Bomb. Where is Isabel when you meet her?
Have Valk.
Their
someone's
Winston's
over-
getting late spawn. Their Winston died last.
Bez, Mercy off point. Looking the
Versus
Guardian.
one.
Oh, shite.
Dead.
I'm
Dead.
Left. Sorry.
That's not before. Oh wait, no, it's
Dead.
not. Thank you.
Left.
Bez, Mercy off point.
Winston no jump. He's gonna probably
Winston
go.
left side.
Winston left side. Damn, they have no bubble.
Okay, careful with the...
Yeah, so they shouldn't have anything except maybe Valkyrie. Just hold
They
shield
go
main.
Yeah, they have Valk.
Their
someone's on the
Winston's
left
getting
side.
late spawn. Their Winston died. Okay, Dance is. I think he said someone's on the left side. I don't know why. Like this backing off I don't know what happened here. Because, oops. So they have a McCree, a Hanzo, and a Zen, all pressuring from this angle. Right? They're pressuring like this. You cannot be on the wrong side of the choke. I don't know why. And okay, so I think our McCree here rolled into the Winston. Yeah, I rolled into the Winston instead of out of the out of the Winston.
Pass into the iris. Meteor strike.
Oh, that was so bad. Cause that was so winnable too. Like losing the game with 4 ultimates nearly ready is so bad. Oh god. I mean, I will admit the Hanzo got lucky there, but like that could have been negated by the shield. And then I rolled into the Winston. But if our Moira was alive, I could have probably survived, and she could have coalesced their engagement. Or even if our Moira had gone DPS, could have killed, like, swept up their backline. They'd have to invest trance, then back off to heal the team. Ah, so close. Yet so far. Just small mistakes. So, a lot of it... It's about, like, recognizing how comps work, and what comps want, and what they don't want. So, with the double sniper, it's about knowing when the fight is lost based on when your win condition no longer is intact. And on this map, it's about, I think on this map we lost mainly because we didn't respect enough the damage from their backline. Like there's a lot of times where they have a very uncontested backline where their backline should be their weak point. Like that's what we should be looking to clean up. They dive us, you know, if they shouldn't be able to hard dive this tank line, and we should play grouped and so maybe next time instead of running an Ashe we can try to run a Reaper. Just focus on eliminating this tank lineup. Mainly that Winston. So I think that's what we can try to do next time. So I hope that the points I made here make sense. Except for that one about Hammond at the beginning that didn't make any sense. But other than that, I will see you guys on the next VOD review. Goodbye.